as the commission, you as a chairperson of the commission. I know you have worked in other commissions, and I hope we can be able to get something that can help us from your leadership areas. If you are to get this position, two things. I'd like you to develop a robust, responsive, coherent commission. Responsive commission. Would you share with the commission two things that you will do to ensure that this commission remains responsive and accountable? Two things.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. Two things that I'm looking at. One is the impact that this commission can do in terms of human resource capacity building for the judiciary through JTI.
Very good. Next one.
Next one is I would also want to look at the disciplinary procedure and how fast decisions could be arrived at via
disciplinary procedures, I presume, under Article 168.
Yeah.
My question is how, the system. How will you do that? What do you introduce?
Okay, for training, which I know is core to this commission, the first thing is evaluate and find out how far we have gone. And from there is to find out the best way to make the commission robust in terms of training. What comes to my mind, which is more of a hypothesis because I've not been here, is we should go towards having a training institute of the nature of maybe government training institute, where we can be able not only to conduct training for our own judicial officers, but also we can be able to offer services, that is, or use the infrastructure, give it out or lease it out to outsiders and make money for the commission.
Okay, we have one GTI.
GTIs, that's what I'm talking about. And I don't know whether I'm correct. I hear it's being sold or there's a problem, but if that is the case, then it is be upon the commission to immediately acquire its own training grounds for purposes of ensuring proper...
Let's move on. As the chair of the commission,
yes,
I want to see the demarcation between the commission and the management. And my question is, how will you ensure that the commission maintains an oversight role on the management without necessarily micromanaging the management? One way that you do that, to make sure that the commission maintains an effective oversight role on management without necessarily micromanaging what they are doing. What tools do you have? Yes.
Yes, oversight is a really major role, so that at least you ensure that whatever needs to be done is done, but done within the ambit of ensuring if it is management, management is done well. Why I'm saying this is, if you look at, because the commission, when it comes to management, more or less, most of the functions, and especially looking at issues of funds and all that, is under the realm of the CRJ. The CRJ has our own directorates to deal with that. But then what happens is, at the end of the day, you must get audit from the CRJ brought to the commission so that you can be able...
Let's call that reports. You'll be able to ask for reports from the management. Yes. Another one?
On I've seen also, I think I must have seen from a document I was glossing, as you're also keen on falling on issues of backlog of cases.
Council, I say that I'm focusing on your role as a chairperson of this commission.
Yes.
You'll be among the 11, first among equals. The battle will stop with you. You have a responsibility to play an oversight role on what they are doing. I'm looking for a structure that you'll be able to introduce in the commission to make sure that you maintain an oversight role on what they are doing. Maybe you can talk about monitoring? You have an idea about monitoring issues, monitoring systems?
Yes, monitoring and evaluation.
Okay.
Yes.
And Madam Chair, do allow me to proceed on to the next part. Council, I want you to focus on Article 232, 1 and 2 of the Constitution, and this article talks about principles and the values of public service that guide all state organs, including the judiciary. I would like you to pick 2 of those values of your choice and share with the Commission how you will be able to promote and enhance those values within the service. Just pick 2.
Okay. One is integrity.
Integrity. And I want you to focus to Article 232, not Article 10. 232, 1 and 2, principles and values of public service. Let's take integrity, yes?
Fairness.
Fairness.
Impartiality. Equality.
So pick 2 of those and share with us, share with the Commission, how you are going to promote. Question is how you will be able to promote those values within the service or within the judicial service. How you promote and enhance those principles.
Yes, when I look at issues of integrity, integrity is very core to a commission like this, because you're not only managing issues to do with the judiciary, you're also the first stop shop when it comes to Wanjiko crying outside there. If it is integrity, we must rise above, not only to be seen, to be above or to be clean, but also we must practice it, whether in or outside. The other issue I look at also is when we look at Judicial Service Commission, and especially VRV, issues to do with disciplinary, then are we looking at ourselves, or of course, supposing I became the chairperson, as being fairly able to give fair, reasonable rulings when it comes to disciplining members of staff?
Okay.
Yes.
I was looking for something like a framework that you'll be able to introduce to enhance those. So in case you are familiar with any framework that talks about integrity, fairness, impartiality, equity.
I think you must be having some in place. But if it is a matter of introducing, then it is about the commission sitting and coming up with one.
Earlier on, I talked about devolution, about the county government, which is very good. I have been able to go to Kenya Maraga, and I know what they do. But my interest is on a framework that you would be able to introduce, that you'll be able to interface judiciary and the county governments in totality. A framework that you would be able to introduce, not singularly towards one county, but the one that you'll be able to encompass all the county governments. What kind of a framework would you be able to recommend in terms of judiciary and engaging those county governments?
Yes, the framework I would want to look at is a framework that brings in a link between the judiciary and the county governments, so that we can be able to benefit from those links. The way I'd put it in terms of communicating to the lowest person in the ground, in terms of maybe getting land to put up our infrastructure, and so on and so forth and so forth, or even, yes. So that kind of framework, or once we've come up with those points, what is it that we want to do with the county governments, then that will inform the framework that we're going to come up with.
Okay. In terms of engagement, you talked about engagement with the other arms of government. Maybe you'll share with us value that will be added to that engagement with the specific units within that engagement. And you could share with us those arms of government that you'll be able to engage and the value that is going to be added.
Okay. When you talk about the arms of the government, I'm looking at the other two. That is the legislature, and the executive. And what value are we looking for by engaging with them? As I said earlier, is really we cannot operate on our own. We cannot operate in a vacuum. We must operate interdependently with the other three arms of government. Why? It's because all of us are serving the same entity, that is Wanjiko, the common Mwananchi. Okay. They've ceded power to us to work for them.
Let's focus on Parliament.
So, Parliament, yes.
Yes, share with us in terms of Parliament. What areas are you looking for? What areas are organs within the Parliament that should be engaging?
Yes, for Parliament, for purposes of maybe funding.
Funding?
Yes, we can look at Judicial, Legal Affairs Committee, and also the Budget Committee in Parliament. That is if we're looking for money. If it is the executive, we may be able to engage the Treasury.
Okay, Treasury, specific Treasury? Maybe you are the chairperson of the Commission. Eh?
To me, Cabinet Secretary. Yes.
What discussions will you be having with the CS Treasury as a chairperson of the Commission?
Yes, the discussions probably that could be coming up is maybe two-way prong. I would look at, if I'm asked, though I am not so sure, but I would look at, and I've heard some of the candidates say that the Judiciary Fund has not been operationalized. And also I would look at the issue of maybe getting more funding from the consolidated fund. Is that a system I could follow? That is the channel I could go through. And also, if funds are withheld, those are the issues I should be bringing to the Cabinet Secretary's table, and how we can go about.
Okay. Which other office within the Executive you find time to engage with as a chairperson of the Commission, apart from the CS National Treasury?
Yes, the Office of the President.
I was the President?
Yes.
In what areas?
Like the issue of the non-swearing in of the 40 judges. Those are the issues also we should be looking at from that point of view, that we can be able to negotiate, focus, maybe agree, and have the President swear these 40 judges.
You have answered this question here alone from my colleagues, but I still have to ask it and get it from you. To enhance and deepen customer service, citizens who are main clients, would you share with us one or two areas that you would be able to deepen our relationship in terms of our customers, service to them?
Okay. Yes. One thing I should do is thank the judiciary for what they've done within, I think we've been seeing it last almost 2-3 years, introduction of the customer service desk in most of these locals. And it has worked very well, and I can comfortably give the example of Kajiado locals.
Kajiado.
You'll find that I think they know what they're supposed to be doing. They're trained well, and I wish the same can be replicated elsewhere, because I remember I went to Kitale, but you could find that the customer care desk was not as effective. So maybe train the ones who run the customer care desk.
Okay, customer training.
Yes.
What else?
And also communication. Communication is key in all this.
Okay. Thank you, Council. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Gishohi. Thank you, Council, for those answers. I will now request Commissioner Felix Koskei to ask his questions. Commissioner.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, Wakili.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, you've practiced for 25 years.
Yes, Commissioner.
In these corridors of justice.
Yes, Commissioner.
From the lowest court to the Court of Appeal.
Yes.
And so you are one of those who, we can say, you understand. You know the challenges that are obtaining in judiciary and the successes, and you've seen over the years the improvements.
Very true.
Yeah. What areas, in your view, that if you come in as Chief Justice, you will quickly change, or you will work on immediately to improve efficiency and effectiveness in judiciary? Give us three.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. The main one, the key one, that actually, if we can look at all the other problems, we find that there is a cross-cutting problem in all of them, and that is finance.
Yes.
For me, finance is very key. We have to get funding. And as I said earlier, there must be a way that we get funding. If it is not only maybe through the consolidated fund, maybe fundraising, there should be another serious way of ensuring that finance is gotten. We strengthen the directorate on funding, maybe even put, we used to call them proposal writers, to fundraising. We get a proposal writer to fundraising from some of these donors, with specific instances where they're supposed to be funding. Because the other thing also, you can get funding from the donors, but you see some of them come, because I've worked also in the NGO world, and I know they come with set minds on where they're going to fund. Supposing today they told you we are going to fund this, and you know your priority is this. So we have to get specific person to sit and write proposals. If it is asking for finances, is for what prioritized benefit.
Yes, that is one.
The second one is ICT.
Yes.
We can't ignore that. Time has moved on. If we have to address the issue of case backlog, we have to go technology.
Yes.
So technology must be able to be embraced.
Yes.
And the other problem is, which I said also finance will cut through, also ICT will cut through, is backlog of cases. How do we reduce this burden? Backlog, as the AG had put it, it's been year in, year out. It's been there with us. Actually, it is something that has really tainted our names. It is a high time we cut on backlog of cases. If it is going ADR, we embrace ADR fully. and I'm happy court and next ADR systems are working. If it's bringing in traditional methods of doing it, let us do it. If it is getting more money, let's get more money to fund and push on with the matters that are pending before court.
Yeah, let us go back to finance. You've been hearing or seeing that there has been consistent budgetary cuts in judiciary. Every other year, you get it, it was around 30 billion, it is now about 17 billion. And because of many other competing interests in as far as financing is concerned in the government. You mentioned briefly on how you will go about it, but I want you to be very specific on the kind of strategies that you will employ to resolve this situation of budget cuts and you know, monies that is not enough where you know, the Treasury always gives us money as judiciary that is obviously not enough to run judiciary. What strategies are you going to employ to address the situation, and how will you build relationship around it so that judiciary at one time will be getting adequate funds for its operations?
Thank you very much, Commissioner. Yes, it's very key that judiciary must be funded, and especially from the consolidated fund. And we've seen the hurdles that have been there to the point that the judiciary may not be able to optimally operationalize its functionalities because of lack of enough finances. I don't know, to me my mind still comes back to the link. This link is very important because it is constitutionally provided for. I think the framers of the Constitution must have seen the importance of this link between the Chief Justice and the other arms of the government. So it behoves upon the Chief Justice to undertake to use that link for purposes of making the judiciary move on, get the funds. As long as independence is paramountly defended. We are independent, the judiciary is independent, it must be independent. There's no question about it. So this link, take it to Parliament, go to Parliament. And I said, actually we start from here. It behoves upon the Commission itself. Let us be together, have one mind, and we say yes, from point A, this is where we found our problem is. If there was a mess in the link somewhere, how do we address this? So that we rebuild the link. It's a bridge. We rebuild our bridge. And then get together, maybe mid-bridge or on the other side of the bridge, and say, this is what we want. And I think these funds will be unlocked.
Thank you. My third question is on the future of judiciary. What challenges do you foresee judiciary facing in a period of 5 to 10 years in its delivery of services? And as a Chief Justice, how would you prepare yourself to deal with them? Can you give us 3 challenges that you see judiciary may face in a period of, say, 5 to 10 years? And give us the solutions that you will ensure that such a challenge will be countermanded immediately.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. This is a society that is growing in terms of population, in terms of other dynamisms. People are getting to know their rights better and better and better. And like them days, I remember, I mean, even interpretation of that right was not there. But with the new constitution, and as we are moving on to interpret what is coming, what has come up with this constitution, people get enlightened and enlightened every day. So you'll find we'll be having more caseloads. First, because of the increment in population and the awareness factor of the populace of their rights and obligations. So we'll have more.
Yes.
And once we have this, we should be prepared as we go about. And as we prepare, then we look at all others. The other also, which I've seen in my law firm, is ICT. We can have this brand today, but tomorrow you'll be told there's something else has changed in some of these computers or in some of these programs. So there's lots of dynamism in that. So that we cannot say today we are expending all this amount of money, we have put the infrastructure of ICT, and tomorrow there's a migration to another different whatever has come up. So those are the things, the challenges that we should be looking at. And the other one also that keeps on popping into my mind, obviously the finances will always be there. Will always, let us be on the lookout, because anytime as population increase, we are going ICT, we are getting more, we have to employ more workers, more judicial officers, judges, and all that. Then problems will always occur in terms of getting funding for all this.
Any solution? Number one, on case backlog that you are foreseeing to come, what solution are you going to give?
Preparation is the best. We've started with ICT. Let's move head on and move with the ICT. Employ ADR. Employ the traditional methods and customary so that we decrease the backlog. ICT is, yes, let us keep on. In fact, we prioritize ICT. We keep on prioritizing because there's no way we'll ever go back. ICT is there to stay with us. Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. This morning I tried getting to know who is Alice Yano, so I Googled. And the first thing that came out was Alice Yano, a lawyer with deep connections to politics. What do you say about that?
I think I've kept on alluding to this point, perception. In fact, even coming here, the commissioner and chairperson, I must confess to you, is like, oh, Yano has gone to the commission because of her connections. No, I just saw an advertisement and I applied for it. One thing is I'm a very courageous person. I'm well informed, and when I want something, I go for it. I looked at it and I said, yes, may I apply for it because I think I can make it to be the CJ. So it's nothing to do with connections. That is Alice Yano as Alice Yano.
Yes, my final question is on when you are in CKRC. You said you are the chairman of Finance and Administration Committee?
May I correct that one? Not the chairman.
Yes.
We use, our chairman would, let's say, for example, delegate when she's not sitting. Because you see, we're moving around the country most of the times. So at times we would agree somebody else sits as we move around the country, others move around the country.
So you are in charge of
yes.
Of overseeing
yes.
issues of finances
yes.
in the commission. And there is a decision that was made by the committee. First of all, the budget was 300 million, isn't it? If you can remember. And there's a decision that was done by the committee, actually 3 decisions. One decision was to buy to purchase 25 top-of-the-range Nissan patrol vehicles for commissioners at 120 million. Remember the budget was 300 million. This is about 35% of the budget. And then, as that was not enough, there was also a resolution to pay a monthly salary of 3.5 million shillings for each commissioner. And to cap it all, there was also a resolution to purchase cell phones for each commissioner at 462,000. Now, you are chairing. If you reflect, do you think it was a good decision? Of course, it was reversed. All of it was reversed later on by the chair, Yash Palgai. If you reflect, was it the right decision, or given that the commission had only been allocated 300 million shillings?
Yes, Commissioner, maybe I should correct that. I knew it was going to suffice and I was prepared for it.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, I knew it was going to suffice because from the way I was looking at some of the interviews, these things usually come because this is by Kwamchesi Makoha. This is untrue. This is something that I saw roaming in the social media about a day or so ago.
Yes.
Nothing of the sort happened, and to go further to that, Chair, actually our motor vehicles were never sourced by the commissioners. We did not have that power. The motor vehicles were sourced through Parliament, and the clerk to the clerk, what was his name again, I can't remember, was the one in charge of sourcing motor vehicles. We never touched motor vehicles. Phones, that one is hearsay. There was nothing of the sort, Chairman. Sorry, Commissioner.
Okay. So it is just a story.
It's a story by
I Googled in the morning and everything was coming out
yes,
like that.
Yes, it's Makoha, I know.
Yeah, so...
He's a reporter.
So nothing like that happened?
Nothing.
Okay, thank you very much. My final question. You said you are a go-getter. You don't waste your time in pursuing what you really feel that is rightfully yours. Am I right to say you are also a risk taker? And if it is true, can you describe some of the risks that you have taken as a leader? And you can also explain to us the results that arose from those decisions, those risks that you took.
Yes. Thank you very much, Commissioner. From the onset, I said that I'm a team worker. I believe in working in a team. It is safer, you get better judgments, and it is inclusive and it can be trusted. So that I don't believe in doing things on my own way. When I say I'm a go-getter, it's because I don't procrastinate. If we've agreed we are doing ABCD, the issue of waiting for tomorrow or next week or the week after, no, it doesn't arise in my mind. Let's not procrastinate. We've agreed. Let us go ahead, move ahead, do what we've agreed on. Otherwise, the risk that you imagine I'll just wake up as a go-getter and do my own things, no, I'm not that.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Wakili.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Koskei. Thank you, Council, and thank you for clarifying that social media story. We now know the truth. And before we go on, allow me, Council, to ask you your county and ethnicity in compliance with the Constitution.
Thank you very much, Chair. I am from Elgeyo Marakwet County. I'm a Keyo, married to Marakwet. And there's something very interesting about where I come from. And I don't know, maybe after this we'll talk with Council LSK whether we can look at that issue. In our place, once a woman gets married, you belong to where you're married in. You belong to that clan. So that if they heard me, and I'm correcting for their benefit, if they heard me saying I'm a Keyo, they'll wonder, but we pay the cows. So where does she belong? Is she a Marakwet or she's Keyo?
Okay.
Yes.
We have noted that, Council. So our last set of questions will be from Honorable Commissioner Evelyn Orwande. Commissioner.
Thank you very much, Chair. Good afternoon, Council.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Okay, to set us off, I want to ask you one thing. The Supreme Court of the United States recently lost a lady judge who is very well known by the name Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Do you know about her?
Yes, I saw it in the media. And she was a trailblazer of some sort.
Do you know what she was a trailblazer in?
I can't really pinpoint, but okay. She did some very good work for USA. Was it USA or where? Yes, she did some good job. It's only I cannot pinpoint.
Okay, it was in the women's rights area.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, the other question I want to ask you is about the Sexual Offences Act. That act has been accused of failing to achieve the purpose for which it was enacted and being very problematic when it comes to implementation. Do you agree with that accusation? And if you do, please tell us why.
Yes, I would want to agree with it partially, the statement partially, because when you look at applying sentences and looking at the ages of the first or the children or the girls defiled,
the victims.
The victims, thank you very much. The victims. You see now, at times you wonder, how do you apply this age vis-a-vis this? I think we need to have a systematic way of doing it. Yes.
So that is what makes it problematic?
To me, that is the part that I see could be a bit difficult.
The fact that the sentence is pegged on the age of the victim?
Yes.
Okay. So why would we say it failed to meet the purpose for which it was enacted?
You see, because there's so much that there's a lot of disconnect in the act. Because when you look at, let's say, a 17-year-old and 17-year-old boy, 17-year-old girl, it is a bit confusing because are you going to jail the boy? What happens to the girl? You look at, there's so much that at times I look at it and I say, really, maybe this is an act that we should be able to look at.
Yes, that scenario you've just explained of the 17-year-old boy and 17-year-old girl is one of the reasons it's problematic to implement.
Yes.
And what about the purpose for which it was enacted? Would you know why that accusation is being leveled, that it failed to meet the purpose?
Actually, the purpose was meant to be deterrence. But you know, as we go on, you find that even at the end of the day, it really does not meet that.
Okay, thank you. The other question that I wanted to ask you concerns Regulation 7, Sub-Regulation 3 of the Judicial Service Code of Conduct. And I'm going to read to you what it says. As a subject of constant public scrutiny, a judge must accept personal restrictions that might be viewed as burdensome by the ordinary citizen, and he should do so freely and willingly. That is the provision in that regulation of the Judicial Service Code of Conduct. So I wanted to ask you, in your understanding, how do you see that shape your life should you become Chief Justice?
Yes, that one, thank you very much, Your Honor. That one touches on the propriety. How are you? How do you present yourself? How is your demeanor to the public? Do you look harsh? How is your life like? How do you, outside the public limelight, that is outside the court, what do people have of you there? So, yes, it is important. If you became a judge or maybe a CJ or even in your position, that the same should be guarded in a way that it does not bring issues of impropriety to the judiciary. That is in the sense of saying, look at the way this officer is reflective of the way judiciary is. So it is incumbent upon judicial officers to really respect that.
Thank you. My next question touches on alcoholism.
Yes.
Alcoholism is a problem that employers across the Republic have to deal with. And it's also there in many public institutions. The judiciary has not been spared. So I want to hear from you. There's a debate that there's a school of thought that believes alcoholism is a case of indiscipline. Mm-hmm. And there's another that believes it is actually a disease. I want to hear your views on that, and also how, if you became Chief Justice, you propose to deal with that issue.
Yes, Your Honor, it's true, it can be both ways. It could be an indisciplinary issue and it could be a disease. May I start with the indisciplinary issue? Let's say today you have a party as a Judicial Service Commission, and you have your members, your friends coming, and maybe somebody overdoes the drinking or drinks to the point that they don't know themselves, and then brings in issues of misconduct and all that. That is serious disciplinary issue. Then for the disease, yes, it is true, and we've seen it happen. And I don't think we may be able to run away from this. That when you look at the person, some of them even don't function without taking alcohol. We've seen some in some of our courts, we have them. Even some of our offices, we don't run away from that, we have them. But we look at it in a way that how can that person be assisted? To me, fine, there's so many ways of dealing with it, depending on how you look at your leadership style. Is it something you think that it is so much, it's too much that it messes up the image of the judiciary? Is that what you're looking at? If it is something that can be sorted out, then let it be sorted out. Is it so grievous as to contribute to the main issue that we are having of backlog? Then how do we sort it out? Depending also on the degree. Because I've seen some of them, actually they drink and they're still working. But others, they come and, with their heads bowed on to the tables. That is the time now you feel this one has a major problem. To me, this is, if it is a disease, let it be dealt with just like any other disease. Let counseling be done. Find out the main reason. And the main reason really could be even if the cause of that alcoholism is solved, you don't find that person being alcoholic. Like, for example, I'm just giving as an example, I'm not saying that it is here. Supposing you get this man, transfer him on a very short notice, you are throwing him to, also not throwing him, you're transferring him to, let's say, Voi, and he has left a young family here. He's still troubled. I've left a family, maybe the child was sick, and here because of duty, I must appear here. To console himself, you'll find that that person might end up consuming alcohol. So now what do we do? Do we victimize this person who has taken alcohol, or we look at this problem that has brought him this alcoholism? That is how I see it.
Thank you very much. My last question before we go to your application documents. The judiciary is currently perceived as being very heavy on female leadership or ladies in leadership positions. We have my lady, the acting Chief Justice, who's a lady. We have the Chief Registrar of the Judiciary, a lady. We have the principal judge, we have the acting President of the Court of Appeal, a lady. We have the principal judge of the High Court, a lady. We have the principal judge of the Employment and Labor Relations Court, a lady. We have the registrar of the Supreme Court, a lady. Registrar of the High Court, a lady. Registrar of the Environment and Land Court, a lady. Registrar of the Tribunals, a lady. Two directors of the most, if you ask me, critical directorates, that's Finance and Human Resource and Admin, ladies. There's a debate out there. One side believes that after about 14 successive Chief Justices who are male, it's about time we had a female Chief Justice. There's another side that believes that given the backdrop, and if we were to select a female Chief Justice, which could be you, then we would have 3 ladies, only one gender, steering the ship of the judiciary in the form of the Chief Justice, the Deputy Chief Justice, and the Chief Registrar being ladies. Their view is that maybe this is not the time to have a lady Chief Justice. I want to hear your views, especially given your background on maendeleo ya wanawake, which basically means, to me, promoting women's rights. What are your views?
Yes, thank you very much, Your Honor. I wish I had seen those statistics, because I think from how we view it ourselves from outside there is the judiciary is so insensitive to ladies. Maybe we see it from the court structures, like we see it from maybe from that perspective of when you go to Supreme Court, you find the ladies are fewer. We've not actually looked at it seriously from who is in charge of where, but we look at it from who are these who've been elevated to, okay, who are these who are in the High Court, the Supreme Court, Court of Appeal, and all that. So that is how some of our perceptions bring this issue of we feel that ladies actually should really move ahead and be recognized in terms of leadership in this key institution. I think for me, I'm of the opinion that ladies must be considered by virtue of that fact, because that is the perception we have outside there.
Now that I have told you the real facts, I've given you the statistics.
Yes.
In this debate, which divide do you belong to and why?
Okay, we know the law is very clear on issues, gender, diversity, people living with disabilities, and all that. And in case that must be applied, then so be it. But what I say is, let us also seriously look at the issue of ladies not only becoming leaders, but also filling in also those gaps that I've just talked about.
Okay, thank you. Now moving on to your application documents, you received communication that you were not cleared by KRA. Has that issue been sorted?
Long time.
It has been sorted?
Long time, I don't know.
Do you have documentation
Yes.
to that effect?
Yes. In
Okay,
fact,
you can supply us with that?
yes.
And then we had requested you in the advertisement to supply us with your last 3 audited accounts.
Council, you can supply them after this.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. To supply us with your last 3 audited accounts and also your wealth declarations.
Yes.
Up to until yesterday, we didn't have any wealth declaration from you or any audited accounts. We received them yesterday. Why didn't you avail them prior, as was required in the advertisement?
Thank you very much. Your Honor, what happened is I had a major problem. Even that, what you just raised about the tax, was my accountant was caught by COVID, and for some time he went home and was not around. So it took me so long. And I think I must have called, I can't remember who, to say that it was going to take long. So, but I've provided them, Your Honor.
What about the wealth declarations?
I've already provided, Your Honor.
Why didn't you avail them the first time when they were required?
I've already explained. It was to do with my accountant.
The accountant was also keeping the wealth declarations.
Pardon?
I didn't get that bit. The accountant was also keeping a wealth declaration.
Yes, there's a bit that I was not able to fill on my own. Yes.
Okay, thank you for that. In your application,
Yes.
you are required to give 3 professional referees
Yes.
and 2 character referees.
Yes.
You gave us all those.
Yes.
We approached them
Yes.
to vouch for you, but only 1 responded. I don't know if you would know why, and whether these people really know you well. Out of the 5, only 1 responded.
That will be very interesting, Your Honor, because I'm not sure, because if I don't know now whether they received your request, I don't know why they didn't reply. But those are my referees and I stand by them. And if my lady maybe could allow me call them on your behalf, I'll do it. Otherwise, they're ready. It's not the first time they reference for me.
Oh, they know you well.
Yes, these are people I've known for a long, long time. Professor Kamar is the Speaker of the Senate, and I've known her since I was probably almost 15 years, when I was very young.
Okay.
So it's somebody who I know can vote for me. I don't have a problem.
Okay, maybe there's just a breakdown of communication somewhere. We'll sort that out.
Thank you.
I was looking at your application vis-a-vis some complaints we've received concerning you.
Yes.
The form JSC 2 in paragraph 7. It says, and I'll read for you. I'll read together with the responses you've given. In respect of any matter involving you personally or under your supervision, please provide details of any finding made or allegations pending of professional misconduct brought against you by A, your client or any member of the public, you have said no. B, your professional body, you have said no. And C, any other lawful authority or body, and you said no.
Yes.
Is that the correct position?
Is the correct position.
You have been sued in a case in Eldoret by your client.
Yes.
I'm aware that the case is pending.
Yes.
What is the case about?
Do you want me to touch on?
If you're comfortable, if you do not want to talk about it, you can tell me.
I'm not comfortable.
You're not comfortable going to the
court,
details.
yes.
But the bottom line is your client in that suit has made an allegation against you.
Yes, I know.
Why would you say no in paragraph 7, part A?
Maybe my understanding was, is it a matter that has been concluded?
No, it says allegations pending of professional misconduct. It's a matter pending in
Because
court.
if it is allegations pending professional misconduct, then it should have gone to LSK, because this is a matter that was taken directly to because it's not, I don't think it touches on professional misconduct.
The matter doesn't touch on professional conduct.
I don't, because it's not been ruled on. It is a matter that is in court.
I'm aware it is in court. That's why I'm not pushing you to go into the details. I am aware that it is pending in court. But I'm also aware that the allegations that your client has made against you that touch on misconduct, professional misconduct. That's why I'm questioning you about paragraph 7.
If then I did not indicate that, then that was an oversight on my part.
Okay.
Yes.
So now, about the case. When was the case filed?
I don't know. From my advocates, can I refer to my file?
Okay, you can look at it. Maybe I can help you.
Yes.
It's a case that was filed in 2013. You found your file?
Yes, just a moment.
Number 283 of 2013.
Yes, 283 of 2013.
So it has been pending in court for about 8 years.
Yes.
It's very serious backlog.
Pardon?
It is very serious backlog, isn't it? This particular case.
It's
It
very
is
serious?
backlog.
Oh yes, oh yes.
It is backlog.
Yes.
Why has it taken so long to resolve?
It's the court, my lady. That is what we've been discussing here.
What has the court not done?
Now, I wouldn't want to go into that. Yes, because personally, I'm just waiting maybe to be called to give my part of the story. I don't know whether they finished theirs. I already have an advocate on record, I think you can see.
Okay.
Yes.
And it doesn't bother you that as a client that your case has taken so long in court?
It has bothered me. I'm always in these court corridors. I mean, most of these issues, my lady, Your Honor, really bothers. There is no way you'd even want to have something smaller hanging around you, something like this.
Yes.
And you can even see the figures that are involved, my lady, don't want to talk. That's an issue you wouldn't want, to even taint your name. You would want to get rid of them. Yes.
Okay, my last question is, have you taken any steps to try and see that this matter is expedited now that it's very old?
Pardon?
Have you taken any steps to see to it that this matter is expedited now that it's very old?
Really, Your Honor, that's why I'd given my advocate this matter. And if that is what you're going, in fact, I'm seeing the sense of it, then I can maybe ask my advocate to move in tandem with them and see what they can do. I think that will be the fairest way to go about it. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Just to notify you, there was another complaint that we'd also received. We saw your response. It's before the commission and it will be considered. I don't have any other question for you. Thank you for your patience. I wish you well. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. I'm so grateful.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Rwande. Council, this brings us to the end of this session. And on behalf of the Commission, I want to thank you for your patience and also for availing yourself and also answering questions to the best of your ability, Council. And Honorable Commissioners, members of the public, ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the end of the process of interviewing candidates for the position of Chief Justice. It has been 2 great weeks listening to some of the best legal minds from judges, practitioners, and academics. The openness of this process has revealed the high legal resource that this country possesses. We want to thank members of the public and other stakeholders for their keen interest in this process and enriching it greatly. As a commission, we are very committed to ensuring a credible process and nominate the most deserving candidate when the time comes. We want to thank the candidates for their willingness to serve the judiciary at this very high level and for the courage to present to themselves to be subjected to this process, especially the public interviewing process. Sometimes it may appear a bit intrusive, but that is public service, and particularly judiciary, where the bar is set quite high. As we said yesterday, the rule of law applies to every institution, individual or authority, and JSC is not an exception. As an institution that is committed to the rule of law, we will wait for the court process to be concluded before we resume and conclude the process in terms of announcing our nominee and also commencing the process of interviewing the judges of the Supreme Court. So once again, and I wish to thank all of you, commissioners, for your hard work, for your patience, and also for your resilience. Not to forget the JSC Secretariat, led by Honorable Secretary Anna Madi and Honorable Registrar of JSC, Frida Mokaya, for their administrative support in this process. So ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the end of this process. And we also want to thank the media, the Commission, and the members of the fourth estate for comprehensively covering the interviews and keeping members of the public and the world at large informed of the process. So thank you very much on behalf of the commissioners. God bless you, and God bless Kenya. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, yes, yes.
This is KTN News.